Hello, welcome to the NGH-WA chapter meeting. We meet monthly on the second Saturday from 10 to noon. And today we are talking about inductions. So thank you so much for being here. And I'm going to have Tina move her chair over a little bit so she's in the screen of the meeting. And I'm just going to start talking about inductions. We're going to learn from one another. And as we rotate through and explain the different inductions that we do, then we might be able to also just do some practicing. So that's why we have these two chairs here. And so as I thought about inductions, there's actually two levels of, are we agreeing that an induction is once we've done an intake with a client, we find out their goals for the meeting, we find out for the session, hypnosis session, we find out how they're doing since our last session, and we do that intake for a while, just a conversation, right? But then we want to get them to relax, because when we can relax and slow down, we can think more deeply. When we're in a hypnotic state, we can access, more of our resources that are within us and connect to, intuitive wisdom and whatever we help them do. So to me, there's two levels. There's that first level of relaxation that we take them through. That's what I would say is an induction. But then we do a second, even more deeper practice, which is called deepening. So to me, there's two levels of induction. So do you think I'm getting like the whole induction? Does that sound correct? Because we didn't rehearse this.
Yes, you can also think of it as accessing their different brainwave states, which is the bridge between our conscious beta brain and the alpha beta levels of layers of consciousness.
Yes, exactly. In one of my sessions, I showed them that brainwave calendar and the chart, and actually seeing how much slower our brainwave is at those deeper levels. Yeah, that's the other thing that we're doing. Great. So let me just explain what I do. So I always do a breathing technique at first for my clients, just to help them, begin to relax. And I do the same one every time. And the reason is I want them to come and expect it. And I also almost want to train them to use it throughout their life. So it's 3 simple techniques, breathing techniques, that I'm hoping that they will use, throughout any time that they want to relax. So obviously, sometimes I have them, stare at a 45-degree angle until their eyes are tired, and then their eyes close, and then open again and close, and then open again and close. So that is a really fast way to become relaxed, because when we fall asleep, what do we do when we're trying to fall asleep? We close our eyes. So that helps, that tells their body that there could be, that now is the time to relax. The next thing I do is I have them breathe in and out through their nose, just loud enough to hear it, just because for themselves. I don't really have them like totally, fill the room with that noise, because if you were just in a crowded room and you wanted to relax, just hearing your own breath through your nose is relaxing, and it's relaxing that survival part of your brain. So anytime you're highly stressed, breathing, I tell my clients at least, breathing in and out through your nose is helpful. I also don't count their breaths, because people have different capacities. And if anyone has ever had to hold their breath and, away in a situation that they felt, was traumatizing, I don't want to tell them how to breathe, because to me that triggers a survival technique for them. So I just breathe in through your nose and breathe out through your nose when it's comfortable for you to do so. So then the second breath I have them do is breathe in through their nose again and breathe out through your mouth. And then when I say out through your mouth, I say releasing any tension, into the space around you. I also, on that second instruction, say you can, if you have identified within that breath in an area of your body that is tense, then on this next out through your mouth breath, exhale through your mouth, imagine you're breathing out through that area. If you have any pain you know, in your body as though you're breathing out. And it's so strange because our brains are so amazing that I literally feel like little tingling, like I'm literally breathing out through, you know, my torso, which is where I hold stress. And so it's so cool that your brain can just tell your body to breathe out pain. And then the next breath that I have my clients do, because I think it's one that you can do kind of as you're doing life, I got from RIM, which is reimagining this curriculum, RIM. And it's actually, you breathe in through your mouth, and I'll go through this in a minute if you all want me to, but you breathe in through your mouth as though the front of your body is breathing in. And you feel, actually, I just feel when I do that, like tingling all the way on the front of my whole body. It's so cool. And then you breathe out as though the back of your body is breathing out. So it's a full body breath that you can do even when you're walking somewhere. If there's a tense, you know, a tenseness that has come to you, you breathe in as though your front of your body's breathing in and you feel that tingling. And then you breathe out as though the back of your body is breathing out, and you're leaving behind you anything that you do not want to carry with you in your body or your mind. Now, on the second time I advise them to do that breath, I have them notice that breathing in through your mouth as though the front of your body is breathing in, and you can notice that that breath is cooler and kind of is a cooler breath because we're breathing in air. Well, obviously, when the breath goes through our whole body, you know, when we hold it, and as long as you're comfortable, when you breathe out, I mentioned that that breath is warmer and lower. So the in breath is kind of higher and cooler. That out breath is warmer and lower. And so they're really, you know, accessing their own capacity of breathing and relaxing. And, you know, I again advise them they can just let anything be behind them that they want to release. And then I just move them into progressive relaxation from their feet, usually through their ankles, legs, seat area, you know, all the way up and over and around. And then I have them in that also to relax their, you know, their survival brain, their more midbrain, and relax their frontal cortex. So I end by relaxing their brain and then their face, especially their eyes, advising them, if they can, to keep their eyes closed, because it is helpful to access our deeper thinking with our eyes closed. However, I had one client who is a marketing professional who said, don't tell me what to do with my body, and I won't close my eyes. After about halfway through my program, so we had to do hypnosis in just conversational open eye, which I think changed the dynamic, but I also totally I wanted to honor her request. So for some people, closing their eyes is uncomfortable. Yeah, exactly. And if that is the case, you can and just invite them to look down, you know.
Even staring at the spot.
And staring at a spot.
Staring at a spot and just gently, not completely closing, but staring at it.
Yes.
Could you use something like a stereogram to look at, like, you know, like the magic fruit?
Oh,
So just have something to look at. Oh, really? They're afraid of that because they're already gonna put them to sleep. Looking at it, and that they've had to disorient and take themselves out of the room. So if they had the trauma, they need to have the eyes open and they need to be able to be in control.
yeah, yeah. Which I totally respected, you know. Also, she redid one of my graphics for free. So thanks.
It's also a misperception that you have to have your eyes closed to be in the hypnotic state. That's not correct. You can be in the hypnotic state.
I'm watching a commercial somewhere in hypnotic state or driving.
Yeah. And so speak more on that, Tina. So you're saying, have you had clients, or do your clients have an open eye hypnosis more often, or closed eye, or?
Closed eye,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
in the exception.
Yes.
You know, we're in the hypnotic state. We're in the TV with definitely have our eyes open. So
Mhm.
it's one of the myths about
yeah.
hypnosis, that you have to have your eyes closed.
Yeah,
You can do change work just by,
Yes,
you know, in metaphor, through language, and just, you know, calibrate your subject. And you can tell when you're in that state.
yeah. Very, very true. Very true. Yes, Barbara.
I was just going to say, when you breathe in through your nose, which is done with yoga and so forth, taking people into a meditative state, you're using all 4 lobes of the lung.
Oh, good to know.
And when you do it through your mouth, you're only working with 3 lobes. So bringing in the going down through the nose and out the nose keeps you in a more meditative state. Mouth breathing in the long run, when somebody's in pain, can actually put them in fight or flight.
Okay, very good. Let me just repeat that. in case it didn't- Yeah. So Barbara mentioned that, and I didn't know this, that when you breathe in through your nose, you're using all 4 areas of your lung, lobes of your lung. When you breathe in through your mouth, you're just using 3. So, and it can put you in fight and flight if you only breathe in through your mouth. So that's very good.
In or out.
In or out through your mouth. Yeah, yeah.
That's why when you're in a meditative or state, you can go for long, you never hold your breath. You're either going in or you're going out. And actually activates the 4 lobes.
Yes, very good, very good. And we've repeated that for the camera. That's great. So I thought I would just list, I brought some of my hypnosis strategy books. So Mary Lee LeBay, I just wanted to bring my book that I have from your training, and just to list the different inductions that she uses. I'm not obviously going to read them. But she has inductions of progressive relaxation, which is, you know, relaxing into your chair and relaxing your body all the way through. And then Erickson environmental, where you bring in elements from your environment, and then grassy lawn, which I would have to look up because I don't know if that one
I
is.
know that one.
Okay, good, good.
You want me to describe it a little bit? So it's basically just imagining yourself like laying, back on a grassy lawn, looking at the open sky above you, having the sky be open, blue, clear, receptive, like your mind, basically. And so you're just imagining how peaceful, how wonderful that would be to lay on that lawn, bring in all of the, scents and smells and sounds and everything of nature, and just really kind of grounding and relaxing in that natural environment.
Okay, very good. Grassy lawn.
Kind of, yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's almost like a guided relaxation and imagery all at the same time.
Yeah, right. So grassy lawn, just laying on a grassy lawn, looking at the sky and just relaxing into that situation. And then her 4 deepenings that she uses is the hallway, where you have someone walk down a hallway. They describe the hallway to you, and they open a door. So that's the point of walking down a hallway, is a deepening. Drop of water is another one that she uses. Stairway, which obviously really gets them into a deep level of relaxation. I just read a stairway deepening, and it was interesting because this person said this stairway is light and breezy and open, kind of like, because stairways can take people to kind of darker places. So I thought that was really helpful that they at least depicted the stairway as being in a bright, open place. I did have a client who used the stairway. I used the stairway induction for her, and she was lost at the bottom of the stairs for like a really long time. She was really lost, which we found out why, but still, I think just having a little bit of, context of your stairway might have been helpful for her. Yes.
Probably.
Yeah, exactly. And I used to do, and I haven't really, is like, okay, well, we see a set of stairways. Would you like to go down or up? And do you want to see a vista, or would you rather go, down, up or down, where they get to choose? So that's another one that you could,
Choice.
enough for a choice. Yeah. Yeah.
Another version of that comes to mind for me is imagine that you're outside and there is a staircase that goes down to a lovely. And so they get more and more integrated into the smell of the ocean air, the sounds around them of the birds, hearing the waves. They can't hear that from up there.
Yeah.
They can hear it as they get
Yeah.
closer and closer, and giving them a chance to get more in the body in a way that it feels safe.
Yes, exactly. And so, yes, so also just saying that the stairway ends on a beach if you want to direct your client to that. So that they can awaken those senses.
I call it a stairway and sometimes also just a pathway.
Yes,
So.
yes.
I don't like give them those options.
Yes, one of my clients recently, I wanted her to be in a forest for a certain reason, so we did a pathway into the forest and along the forest, whether she wanted to go into where the trees really were or just look at them from the outside. And yeah, so actually path is another thing. And then the last one is a healing ball of light is another one. And then Mary Lee has your third eye opening as a deepener. And then her next step, which we talked about in our conference, was creating a safe place after. So you've got your induction, your deepening, and then the client's in a safe place and does their work from there. And usually can find like an empowering symbol that they can take with them for the next part of their journey. So that's Mary Lee LeBay's, strategy.
I'll mention something about the drop of water.
Yes.
Definitely want to make sure someone is okay with water for this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was something, beaches too, yeah. That was something I experienced in school. And the funny thing is, so this was one of my first experiences many, many moons ago. And it was interesting because I have zero issue with water normally.
Mhm.
I'm a great swimmer, like no problems with water, like all of that. And but my husband was deployed in the Navy at the time. And it was like right during like wartime, and it was like really a stressful, tense time. And I definitely did not have a good reaction to a water induction at that time. And so, yeah, you have to kind of like get to know your client of is water going to be a problem for any reason at all whatsoever? Because the drop of water is a drop of water in the ocean and, becoming part of that. And yeah, it triggered a whole thing emotionally for me. It was really good practice for my fellow students. So that was, but yeah, that was, I said, just a really stressful time. It was like 9/11 time. So yeah, it was really stressful. So basically, make sure to check about beaches, waters, forests, stairways, dark basements, like things like that, because their mind can go there. And so, yeah, you have to be
Well,
cautious.
even the lemon script.
Yeah.
They did the lemon script. Got through with that with one of my students, and she had been attacked by her mother with a knife.
Oh,
Who would have thought?
yeah.
Who would have thought? So, safe space isn't the same for everybody.
Yeah, absolutely. And sometimes when those type of things come up, it could be the reason that, they're with us to work through that issue with their mother or work through, how you're feeling to some degree, whatever. So very, very good. Very good. So the other program that I have, done, it's called RIM, and it's called, I always have to look at it, Regenerating Images and Memory. It's a very specific scripted program, and which I use only for one of my sessions, even though it was one of my more expensive trainings. So one is just basic relaxing. Another one is sensing your body. Another one is finding like a power spot. You imagine in your mind's eye a place in nature that's beautiful and safe, a place you may have visited, and then you look at each thing, look at the sky, what do you sense? So it's like what you were saying, but it's a little bit more slow, and you look specifically at each element of nature. Body breathing, which we talked about. Chakra clearing oh boy, they have so many of them. Following your breath, traveling light, spinning chakras. I do counterclockwise spinning chakra clearing sometimes, where that's when you're releasing things from your chakras, but then you do them clockwise and then you're clean and safe and free. So that was from there. And chakra clearing. And so if any of you want to kind of get more information about these, or, I can't copy them for you, but if you wanted me to talk through these with you and share them with you, that is something that I could do so we can learn from each other. And then, yes. All right. So the other thing is I have a new curriculum, which Faith told me about. It's new to me. It's called the Tom Silver method of stop smoking. And he has some super interesting inductions. This is copyrighted materials, so I can't send it to you at all. But one is just pulling your hand to your forehead. He had it where you'd pull your hand to your face, which I thought was a little bit claustrophobic. So I wanted to actually activate more their third eye without telling them that, because some people are really freaked out when you talk about third eye. So you imagine their fingers are spreading, and then they, you put a magnet on their hand and a magnet on their forehead, and then they hold this position. Another one is that you bring up your arm and drop it in relaxation. So we've heard about that before. Progressive staircase deepening, and that's where I got that, the staircase is light and open. And then just a beautiful, peaceful place. And for this one, I was actually able to get this in a Word document, and I was able to edit it out. And I didn't name what the peaceful place was at all. I just said, imagine a scene, because I don't want to, put you just because of triggers. I didn't want to name the peaceful place for them. So those are some of the things that he had in his curriculum. And all right. So Tina, you came up here because you had some things for inductions that you wanted to share. So
Best way is to demonstrate. So
demonstrate. Oh Lord. Okay, good. We're demonstrating.
So I typically, when I'm first hypnotizing a new client, I typically use the Dave Ellman induction because it has all the different factors. But when I have a client that I've seen for a while and I know will go easily into trance, I prefer faster methods.
So do you want to describe just the Dave Ellman just for our listeners so that they would, even if you're not going to do it today, could you tell them what that is?
Sure. Well, the way I do it is I always start with them concentrate on their fist, and I have them make a really tight fist and focus on the tension, and notice how far that tension goes up the arm, even into your neck, and now do the complete opposite. I want you to relax that hand. Just notice the difference, and from there I have them close their eyes and then notice all the little muscles in and around the eyes, and I consciously have them relax all those little muscles around the eyes to the point where they just won't open because it's too much effort. And then you give them a test, and the more they try, the more relaxed to become, and then allow that wave of relaxation to travel from the top of your head to the tip of your toes. And then in a moment, I'm gonna lift your arms. Always get their permission first. Anytime you're gonna touch a client, always get their permission. And you let me do all the work, just lifting your hand either by the wrist or by the thumb, and then that is a good way for you to calibrate their level of physical relaxation too. And then if they're still making an effort, then I do it a third time, and I have them, next time I lift your arm and it drops, you're going to go 10 times deeper. Utilizing whatever their response is as if that's meant to happen, and use that to, deepen their trance. Following the hand, then you talk about that's physical relaxation. There's also mental relaxation. So you have them, you instruct them first, count slowly backwards from 100. 100, then say deeper relaxed. And every time you say the subsequent number, those numbers start to fade from your mind, like a clear blue sky. And use all the metaphors and to calibrate how they're saying the numbers. So numbers have all gone. Always check. Numbers all gone. Bam. You've got them into mental relaxation. And then it's fractionation. The next level is you have them I might have done that in the wrong order. I think the fractionation comes before the mental.
It's okay.
But I've got
That's
the framework instead of fractionation, usually have open, close, again, going 10 times deeper. That's kind of been proven, that they will, gets past that critical factor, of the consciousness.
And then if you're doing Dave Ellman and it's actually online, you can't lift their wrist. And so I just have clients just lift your wrist and let it drop. And you can just, your wrist just falls like, you know, so relaxed. It really does. It's a great way to show them how relaxed they are. Okay, thank you for that. All right.
Okay, so this, I believe this is called the James Braid induction. And you just want an object. I had my earrings and I thought I got, oh, this little heart pendant, but any object, a coin, a ring. And so I'll demonstrate it first on the top. So Danny, I want you to focus your attention on the heart. And just delete everything else around you. Bring your full awareness to that heart. And as you do so, you may notice your focus begins to have your eyes get tired. The more you focus, the more relaxed you become. The more relaxed you become, the heavier your eyes. So in a moment, it's too much effort to keep those eyes open. Anticipating how wonderful you're going to feel. Going into a lovely cocoon of relaxation. Those eyes, as you give yourself permission, go into a trance. Or you focus on the heart, the heavier your eyes, until you just can't. And now notice that burning sensation in your eyes that allows you to go deep, sink to the level that is coming. Knowing that there is a level deep, and you can go there. And I'm already calibrated in a level of trance. So I know there's something that you'd like to feel so much better about. That if you could feel better about this, make a big difference in your life. I want you to think about that now. And as you think about that, it's going to suddenly become very funny to you. And the more you think about that, what used to be stressful, it's a million miles away now. As you delete anything, leave anything that's attached to that, no longer affecting you. The time you need to be thinking that, it just seems funny to you. A million miles. Now in a moment, I'm going to count from 1 to 5, bringing you back to conscious awareness, remembering this shift. Something. 1, feeling wonderful. 2, to achieve your goals. 3, with a sense of freedom. 4, breathing in that sense of power, confidence. And 5, wide awake now, fully awake.
Wow, I didn't want to open my eyes. I'm like, okay. Yeah, exactly. That was great. And the issue that I brought up, if I could laugh about it, it would really improve my life. So thank you for that. I've never used laughter as a change work. That was great. Great. Thank
I
you
mean,
so much.
hypnosis can be done in that and change your life in seconds. That's why, it's, what we do is so powerful and life changing. We need to let more people know about this.
Great. Are there any other inductions that you want to share?
Oh, I have tons, but that was the one I was gonna show you
Demonstrate.
today.
Yeah. So we've mentioned a lot amongst ourselves. Are there any more that you just want to list for our viewing
Oh,
audience?
no, I just think it's more better to demonstrate them. And there's as many inductions as there are imaginations.
Yeah. Okay. Great.
But if anyone wants to practice that later, that would be cool.
So do you want to show us another one with practicing with someone? Do you want someone else to take this?
No, I think somebody else should come and
Yes,
demonstrate theirs.
yes.
Who's next?
Okay, come
Come
up.
on up.
Are you going
Guess
to?
you can be the subject.
No, I think you should be the subject. Don't go too far.
Oh, okay.
Do you want to just
We can
tell
do
us
music
about,
there.
do you want us to tell
Yeah,
us about something
tell
or
me
do you
about
want to
it.
demonstrate it?
Both. I'd be happy to demonstrate because talking about it, hearing about it gives us a certain level of understanding. But really, with hypnosis, you're also affecting not just the mind and that logical capacity, but you're also affecting the body as well. So, hi,
Hi.
you've changed.
I have.
You did, we had a changing of the guard here.
Oh. Yes.
So one of the things we've talked about so many things so far, and one of the things that we've tapped into is the idea of feeling safe. We also talked a little bit, you talked about it, the brain waves and how when we spend so much time in the beta brain, that busy part, that stressful part, it's great for problem solving, but every positive has a negative, every negative has a positive, right? And so the beta brain is really great and we use it a lot of our time, but getting into those other brain frequencies, we know really helps. And so we go down into the alpha, which is still associated more with the beta brain. You can do work and all that in that particular brain frequency. Then you get down even lower into the theta and you start to get things like a meditative state. That beginning of sleep as you drift off, what an incredible time that is. And that's a great thing when you're going to sleep, to do a little bit of self-hypnosis, giving yourself suggestions, ideas, and all of that. And then we get down into the delta waves, which is a deep sleep. Now, a lot of people think that the only way you experience delta is when you're sleeping, and that's not 100% true. People that are really experienced with meditation states, they're able to go into that state and not be asleep. And it's really actually very enjoyable to go in that state. I know you've been in that state before. I know that. I can tell just from your demeanor and as we're talking here, noticing the shifts in your energy is that you have a really strong understanding of that state. So back to that thing of the brain frequencies on the and that feeling of, do I feel safe? A lot of people, they struggle sometimes with hypnosis because they don't want to lose control. They don't want to give control to you. They don't want to give that up, and they're afraid. And they have many reasons to be afraid. It's reasonable and it's logical. So how do we help them to deal with that? And okay, so everybody here does hypnosis, correct? Are there other things that you do as well? Do you do NLP? Yeah. Do you do any kind of meditation? Yeah. So there's lots and lots of things that we can do. One of the things that I've become a specialist in and went through the training and I'm now a certified havening practitioner. And havening works quite a bit with the body. It's a somatic healing. And the thing about it that I love is it really pulled together a lot of things. And it made everything complete. I started doing hypnosis 40 years ago. And I'm just now gotten to that point over the last few years that I went, I got everything I need now. And bringing that people into that state. And it's very simple. Your body is naturally geared, naturally designed to be responsive on a somatic level, which means feelings and sensory. And one of the first senses that we turn on, and you can go ahead, put your hands up if you're comfortable doing that, and just gently glide your hands together. And what happens when you do this particular kind of touch? Now, let me give you a little demonstration. You could do touch like, that's not going to get the results that I'm talking about. You could go like this. Let's get this moving. Let's get this moving now. That's not going to get you the results. We're not starting a fire. We are calming our nervous system and we're lowering those brain frequencies. And when you do gentle, soft, soothing touch, nice and easy, and just notice as you move your hands, if you slow down just a little bit and notice how that feels, and even watching your hands. Now, what happens is that your body naturally starts releasing delta waves, that lowest state. Actually, there's another state that goes even lower than that they're researching. But it releases those delta waves, which is associated with deep sleep. It's a very healing place. It's a very quiet place. Megahertz, it's 0.5 to 4 megahertz, very slow, as opposed to the beta brain being more around 30. And your body naturally responds. Notice how you feel now as you're doing this movement. And I even add a little bit of a hypnotic induction in here. And I say, I'd like you to go ahead and I'd like you to count your fingers. And let's start with your right thumb. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And what that does is it gets your subconscious mind out of the way. Because for you to do an activity, even the silliest little thing like counting, well, let's go through and count. We counted 10, and let's go back over here to this left thumb, and let's count backwards, starting with 10, 9, 8, and proceeding through, is that you're distracting your subconscious mind so it's not going to go, well, this isn't going to work. Well, oh, well, I got things to do. Well, you know what? I really don't like this feeling. And all of that busyness and all those things that happen with your subconscious mind. So when I do hypnosis, I include this gentle, soothing touch. And this is one way of doing it. There are other ways as well. And these are things that if you want to learn this, the basics of it, and learn more about it, I do workshops. I'm going to start doing them in locations like this, libraries, and teaching people. And so you get that in-person hands-on, but also online. And it's called Quiet Your Mind, or it's called Calm in Minutes for the touch. I also do another one, which is Quiet Your Mind, where we actually talk to the subconscious mind at the very beginning as we first start the induction. And this is more of a meditative practice that I'm bringing in, whereas the touch is a somatic. So these are both, I find, to be very great ways that are really no effort on my part. I don't have to do much. I just let them do all the work, and I just guide them through these simple steps, and they go through this process. How do you feel after doing this touch?
Very zen.
Very zen. And that's really the point. And the thing is your body naturally turns that on. And here's the thing is we've got so many people out there that have experiences. We talked about things like, how do you do inductions? Do you have them go down an elevator? oh my gosh, what about people that are claustrophobic?
Yeah.
Well, do you have them, go down the stairs? Well, it can get dark. Do you have them go up the stairs? Well, are they leaving their body, and getting even more detached? And so there's lots and lots of ways that, rules that people have that we don't know. And so doing this, we're not suggesting to them how to experience it, but their body knows, and your body understands those delta waves. And the thing is, when you get down into the delta waves at such a slow energy vibration, and your body experiences that as being a safe place, and think about it. You're not going to go into a deep sleep if you're out in the jungle. Animals, they still sleep, I'll sleep with one eye open, and their ears are perk while they're sleeping. But the delta waves, when you go into the delta waves, especially as you go deeper in that, you naturally get into that more relaxed state, that state where you can digest your food, where the blood is coming back from your extremities, in that hypervigilant state, and feeding your organs. And all of a sudden your body feels comfortable and safe again. And even that is a wonderful, wonderful little piece to throw in there about that hypervigilant, even just explaining it to people. The hypervigilant, you are trying to either fight or you're running away. Your blood goes to your extremities, not to your organs. You shut down all the unnecessary things, and that being digestion and pleasure and social ability. I can't even say that right. Your social aspect. And so even just giving people a reminder too, what a great thing to just casually talk about. And that sets up the induction so that boom, they're going to go right into it because they understand, when you go into the state and you start doing that gentle touch. Before we even start, and I say, go ahead, let's just kind of play with that for a minute. And I'll just tell you a little bit more about it, is that you might notice that your extremities feel a little more calm because the blood begins to flow back to where it's needed to keep your organs safe and happy, to feed you and take care of you and allow you to be sociable and allow you to just feel comfortable being you, and notice how that feels. So what a great thing, that when we get down to the hypnosis, whether it is regression work, heart therapy, setting goals, performance, and and exploring your excellence, and building those dreams that you want, and setting your goals, and no matter what you're doing, the more comfortable you feel in your body, the more receptive it's going to be, and it's not guarded, so I'm a big fan of receptive, and
Aesthetics.
yeah. And let's do it the easy way. So those are the things I use. Yeah. Yes. Thank you so much for volunteering.
You should
All right.
volunteer in the.
I have some questions for you, Bessie.
Oh, sure. You want me? I'll stay here.
Please. Okay, I've got a few questions. So I use a lot of what I learned for trying to train people for helping people who are in crisis, and then also just developing rapport, trying to get clients. What I'm wondering is, this seems very helpful for people who are in crisis, you're not necessarily
Yes.
going hypnotherapy for. My question is, how well, or would you have any tips for how to body mirror somebody and then start leading them into a self-deepening? And if so, what different techniques would you employ, or would you have any other suggestions?
Yes.
If you were to lead somebody into doing something on their own without ever else even telling them to.
I've had situations, one that I just had the other day, and I had a situation where I gave somebody a ride to an appointment they had. They couldn't drive that distance because of their health issues, and they were extremely stressed to the point that at that time when we were waiting for their appointment, and they were just told, and we'll try to fit you in today, and you could just see her mind going. And that's definitely a crisis mode. I was concerned that she was going to have a heart attack or a stroke. It was that intense. Do you mind volunteering here for this for just a moment?
Sure.
So I was sitting there, and there's other people around, and I just put my hand up, and I said, I understand how you feel, and it's okay. Okay, I understand. Yeah. And they're doing the best that they can. Yes. And I looked around the room, and it was a pavilion, and they had strings of lights going across the room. And I looked up and I said, those lights, what do you think of those? I like them. What do you think? They look pretty good. Yeah. And I said, they go across the room. I noticed they go from that wall halfway across the room, and they're hooked up there, and then over to the other side, and they do the same thing going down through the room. And I said, I wonder how many lights are on each side. Let's count them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And what I did there is one is that you can have them do this movement for themselves, or you can do it for them. Now, this is not the way that it's necessarily done in the therapy, but this is very close. In the therapy, you would be doing this. And it's very effective, but it would look goofy in a room full of people. It would look really goofy in that room full of people if I had done that. So I just put my hand up on her shoulder, and I did the one side. And that's a pretty normal thing. You see people do this all the time, don't you? It's okay. Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. You know, et cetera. So yes, that technique is actually a therapeutic technique. It's for trauma resolution. It is to help people with trauma, and it works with your brain. And so when you put together the various steps that are involved there, you're actually working with the amygdala, and you are creating an environment, an electrical and chemical response just by doing this.
And you always get their permission first?
You always get their permission first. This person I had known for years and years and years. And so I could just reach over, and I knew, and we already had the talk on about it beforehand. Anyway, it's a very therapeutic type of treatment. And when you get that electrical response, that change in the brain frequencies, you get a chemical response to that happens automatically in your brain. And with that chemical response, that thing that is holding on inside them, that is creating the trauma from an event. It's not necessarily a traumatic event. It's a trauma created from an event.
That on switch is on.
Yes.
Turn it off. Yeah.
So those chemicals release based upon the frequencies that are being broadcast to it. And they release. And all of a sudden, it's gone.
It's so almost any hypnotherapist then really should be looking to use some sort of havening technique by identifying it or not, by including a somatic experience.
We're finding that out more and more, certainly in the field of training.
Yes.
Psychology.
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
realize it. And Thomas Burney wrote the book, The Embodied And it's all about all the years that he was a psychiatrist. And he was not taking care of his patients completely because he was only working with the mind. Now he is on board and understanding that you need somatic work
Yeah.
also.
That's also with,
Can we recap here just for the people that are on the watching the video? Here is that we talked about, hey, this sounds like a great thing for anybody doing hypnosis to add to their collection of tools. And you know what? There's so many ways that people do hypnosis. We all have our own style and everything. It's a great tool to have, but it depends on what you're interested in and how you interact with your clients, right? My goodness, we have a changing of the guard again. So another question that came up was, what was the, oh, the touch and the mirroring.
Another question.
Yes.
Stacy had.
Yeah, but hang on, let me get to the mirroring part. You notice when I was working with her and I start doing this touch and I said, go ahead and follow. And she's sitting there doing the same thing right now. And I'm sitting there this whole time doing the same thing. I'm mirroring for you. And the great thing about it is that while I do that, there's many things happening. Now, I've been doing intuitive work for 4 decades. I started hypnosis back then. I've got awareness levels that I've built those muscles. Okay. I do triathlons and intuitive. Yeah. And so for me, I noticed that very clearly that not only am I working with the person that's sitting here that I'm helping, but I'm helping myself as well at the same time. And so what's that going to do for me is I'm taking care of myself at the same time. And that while that's not the intent of the session, because this is the person that's important, but I'm important too, right? And it takes less for me to get through my day and I feel better. I feel actually fantastic at the end of the day instead of being tired. But also there's that mirror aspect as I take care of myself and I show that person that thing that is happening in my energy system. They're probably not going to notice it, all the details of it, but they're going to pick up on some of it. And they're going to pick it up on a very unconscious level, all of it. And they're going to go deeper into that state because I'm sitting there doing it with them. If I sat here like, you're closing on yourself. If I do that, then, and I'm not engaged, then they're not going to respond really well. I actually had somebody do me the biggest favor. I was walking her through a hypnosis session. And I had brought my dog along. She's a big dog person and wanted to have the dog join in as well. And we're going through a process. And all of a sudden I felt like, boom, I'm back in the room. And it's like, what happened? And I noticed my dog and noticed the dog get up. And I went, oh, okay. So how are you doing now? What's happening now? And she says, well, everything's okay, but you left. And she had her eyes closed. She wasn't focusing on me at all, but she detected that moment when I snapped back in the room. Never did figure out for myself why I did that, but it was a really great lesson. And it's like, holy crap, I've been doing this intuitive stuff for 40 years, and that was the best lesson I've ever had in my life. So there's lots and lots of things. Well, is that you can sit with them and you can do exactly what I was doing, where that you're doing the touch on yourself and you're guiding them.
Well, if you're virtual, that's what you'd be doing. But so you can teach self-hypnoting basically, right? You're teaching them how to do it, just mirror it.
Exactly. The other thing too is that you can give them a handout and give them very clear instructions. These are the places that we touch. Your upper arm, your shoulders and your upper arms, your palms, and perhaps even your face.
One more before we finish. Yeah, so I pulled up a picture. I'll show everybody online. It's a Necker cube induction that I learned from a gal named Jennifer Rodriguez, who's an NGH trainer. And I actually learned this from her at the last Element Global conference. And I used it with a group this last week, and it was really fantastic. And actually had a session with her where she used it with me. So it was really fun. So you've all have seen, I don't know if you all can see this, this is far away, but the Necker cubes, where it's a cube and it has a lighter color, basically lines on the front or the back, depending on how you see it. But basically the cube, when you focus on it for long enough, can flip, right? Hopefully, yeah. Okay, so this is kind of what you were asking about earlier, Stacy. Big sigh, yeah. So I thought I'd bring that up. So, and since Esty was talking about brainwaves, the Necker cube induction, and you can teach this for self-hypnosis for people as well when they focus on the cube and they are able to work to control the flip. When they get to that point, it actually goes into gamma. So that's higher, right, than beta. So that's your insight inspiration place, and it fires your whole brain. Basically, it lights up everything. And it's when you're in the shower and you get this like idea or a name for a program, or, you know, something comes to you, it's like that aha moment. It's basically being able to go into that brain space. And so basically what you do is you look at the cube and you would just focus on it and start to slow your breathing and relax. And what Jennifer teaches is to really focus on the exhale, and with each exhale, going deeper and deeper into that relaxation, and you're watching the cube till you start to see it flip. Now, for some people, I've had all different responses. Some people, it takes a while for it to start flipping. Some people, that thing is flipping like crazy right from the beginning. So everyone's going to be a little different. But what she has you do is basically watch this cube, and when it starts flipping, then you are actually closing your eyes on the exhale and then opening your eyes on the inhale. And so each time you're slowing everything down, going deeper and deeper, slower and slower, until the box starts slowing, and then it can flip with each breath. So each time you open your eyes, flip, right? So it can then be more of a controlled flip, and it is bringing you into that more gamma state. And so that is the induction that she uses a lot, and she teaches for self-hypnosis. She actually has, I looked that up too, she has a YouTube video on it that I wanted to share with all of you. So let me see. We can always put this in the notes too. But so let's do that. Maybe the link. Would that be interesting to anybody? Because we can put that in with the newsletter, yep, with this recording of the link to her video of how to do it. And it's really just a great technique. You can teach clients how to do self-hypnosis and do their own induction going into this, or you could do it for your clients as well.
If you have it on the phone, or how do you present the square to?
She actually had it just on like a PDF, so you can just send the image to your client. So what but you'll see it in the video when we link it. It will have the image in there. And so yeah, so that, because I've tried Googling the image, and you want a nice clear image. It comes with all sorts of cute images, and it's not always the right one. So it's called a Necker cube, Necker is the one that you want, Necker cube. And so, yeah, we'll put that in there so that you all can see. And so the image, if you're, of course, online with somebody, you could share your screen, right? So that they can see it. You can email it ahead of time, or of course, you could just have it printed and have that in front of them. But yeah, it's really nice to be able to, have them feel like they're being empowered to be able to do this induction for themselves too. So I find that, because a lot of times we're teaching things like the breathing techniques, like you said, Danny, and you're saying, okay, this is something you can do for yourself, or progressive relaxation. There's a lot of different techniques that they can do. This one is something where you can say, okay, now you can go home and practice this, and they feel like they're mastering that skill. That's it.
So, is there
Is there a particular type of session or client that you use that technique for?
This is pretty new to me. I know Jennifer uses it a lot. And she uses it and teaches it to every single one of her clients. So she teaches this as like their self hypnosis technique. I tend to vary some of my inductions. It depends on the person, obviously, and what's going to work best for them. I just started using this for myself, and I did this for a group, and it worked really nicely. So I thought that was good because obviously everybody's going to be different in a group. And so I tried it out this last week and it was really successful. And like I said, even though everybody's at their own pace with the box, everybody was able to get to that point because I just led them to say when it starts flipping, then go ahead and start, doing the open and closing their eyes. And I gave them an ample space and time to be able to get to that place. And then it was something that they could take away from that group session too. So that was nice. So haven't done it a ton with my individual clients yet, but it is something I'm planning on starting to teach. And so at least doing it once or twice with them, so then I can teach them that they can do that on their own.